Bob Marley's real name is Robert Nesta Marley. Yeah. Robert Nesta Bob Marley. Robert Nesta Marley. Robert Nesta
Cut!
Bob Marley.
What is love? Really want to know what is love? Ooh, aye. Girl, it really looks.
After 6 days of showing, I finally went to watch Bob Marley's One Love. One Love is essentially a biopic about aspects of the life of the Bob Marley. Just in case you don't know who Bob Marley is, you can Google. Some people may not readily know this information, but Bob Marley's real name is Robert Nesta Marley and not Bob Marley. In the film, you might realize that they refer to him as Skip. Skipper was the name that the soccer team, his teammates, I should say, called him, who are also his friends. Yeah, that's another interesting thing about Bob. He loved football. I think in another life, he's probably a professional footballer. Before we go any further, hit the subscription button and give this video a thumbs up. Now, Bob Marley's One Love movie didn't cover his entire life, but more so his journey to creating the album Exodus and embarking on the Exodus World Tour. In his tour, he visited countries like France, Netherlands, Belgium, West Germany, Sweden, Denmark, and England. It also showed a few flashbacks of his early life. Now, for the cinematography, I'm not going to get too technical with the cinematography, but there were a few shots that I particularly loved or liked. Not to give any spoilers, but there's a scene after he relocated from Trenchtown and flew to the hills for safety that has really stunning visuals. I liked how they told the story of the Rastafarian culture, from the shots to the direction to the visual effects. Yo, it was stunning, and it was a night scene. That was my favorite scene cinematography wise. I also like the shot with the field on fire and the man on the horse and the silhouette. I really like that. And young Bob. For art direction, I like the effort they put into making Bob's wigs. It looks like it took a lot of time and a lot of details. I was watching an interview with Kingsley, and he said that it took months to perfect the wig. Another honorable mention is shooting a film set in the 1970s in a 2020 landscape without using any or much compositing. Yup. I know Jamaica doesn't have a lot of infrastructural developments per se, but actually to pull it off, to make it believable by using artifacts from the 1970s, such as cars, the wardrobe, and the Boeing 727-200 Air Jamaica airplane, that was pretty good. Apart from the scenes set in Jamaica, I think it would be easier to find places in Europe to shoot a 1970 looking film. The set design overall was good, and I think Bob's house in the film was actually built for the film. Finding an actor to play Bob, portraying the setting in terms of time, and directing a set of thousands of people for the concert would have been the most challenging part, I assume. It was a basic story to execute picture-wise, so picture-wise I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Apart from those scenes and some editing and soundtrack details, which I will get into shortly, nothing else picture-wise really wowed me, but it's good. The cinematography is good. Now for the acting, there were a lot of controversies surrounding casting of the main actors, but personally, I have no issue with any of the main cast members playing the role they were casted for. Kingsley Ben Adair was a great choice, and he did the role justice. I mean, I had faith in him. Well, he did it more than justice. I can see that a lot went into the acting and directing aspect of the film. It's not just Kingsley, but everyone who played their part in ensuring that this man embodies the entire essence of being Jamaican. Kudos to them.
When you write that?
All my life.
To date, he has got to be the best non-Jamaican portrayal of a Jamaican.
I'm not riding in the same sled as that. It tripped me too, you know. But in case you haven't noticed, there's no one else here.
And to be honest, films normally fail terribly in this department. It's the first time I haven't cringed when watching a film with actors acting as Jamaicans. Well, no, I actually cringed a bit. I know some of the younger actors aren't professionals, but I cringed at the sound and acting of some of them, unfortunately. I don't know where they all came from, but some of them were struggling to speak patois or to sound natural when they were acting. I could hear it in their voice. Also, in the beginning of the film, I cringed when I heard Lashana Lynch because I could hear the British accent. But over time, she really improved. And that scene when they were in Paris, yo, she delivered. I cringed when Kingsley kissed Lashana on her cheek, but that's just my natural reaction to people kissing. They were a good duo, but I don't think they had much chemistry on screen. Also, Lashana looks nothing like Rita Marley. Yeah, people might argue that, oh, Kingsley Ben Adair looks nothing like Bob Marley, but I think we all can agree on him visually depicting Bob more than Lashana's visual depiction of Rita, right? I understand that a film like this is marketing as much as it is storytelling, hence for it to receive as much traction, they had to cast A or B list actors, hence why I'm content with the casting. I want this film to be as successful as possible, though I sort of have some reservations about not being invited to the auditions. I actually heard about the casting through the grapevine, but I guess that's how the film industry works. Honorable mention, the guy who played teenage Bob Marley. Yeah, he has the features of Bob Marley. Who is he? Google search. Okay, so I did some digging. He is actually Jamaican and he went to my brother's school. Not my brother's school, but my brother's school. Like we're brother sisters. I really wanted more Jamaican actors to get more screen time though, or lines. Even the actresses that played backup singers, Savannah and Naomi, they hardly feature them on camera. Not even one close-up shot. Anyway, let's get into the direction. We won't talk about character development because the film wasn't long enough to show that, but I was particularly shocked by Bob's explosive anger. It showed that he's human. In the beginning, it shows Bob as this mellow, cool, collected guy who is very kind and radiates light and positivity, but I like that they showed a more human and relatable aspect of him.
There's a war going on. Oh, I can't bring peace. I can't even get peace for myself.
You know, with everything he went through, the depression, the self-isolation, it gave the story depth and the character as well. And yes, Bob Marley was a deep man. Even with the diagnosis, he didn't let that stop him. He actually performed right up until the day he collapsed. This is not in the film, but this is the actual story, and I think depicting this would be really sad. I'm wondering if they're going to have part 2. The film ended so abruptly, the ending just got to be the worst part of it. I'm sorry. It's like they didn't know how to end it, or Ben Adair had other projects to work on, like being a Ken doll. See what I did there? Anyway, I saw that the director and producers wanted to show the world more of his human, regular day-to-day life, especially with his family members being directly involved, to show who Bob really was to the core, that he was a genius musician and an inspiration who many look up to, but he was also human. What I love the best about One Love storytelling is that it nailed the person of Bob one who is highly positive and has a positive word for everyone, and words of wisdom, of philosophy, and of love. And this is the core of the story, the message. Bob was big on messaging, so they definitely had to nail that, and I think they did that justice. When Rita said, sometimes the messenger has to become the message.
Sometimes the messenger has to become the message.
That really resonated, and it causes me to think about how true that is, considering Bob's life and journey. Though his life was cut short, he became the message and has to be without doubt the greatest messenger of our time. This brings me into my next point: music and soundtrack. Yes, because it's a biopic of a musician, it was only best that they create the soundtrack from his music, both released and unreleased, I assume. I don't know, but if Kingsley lip synced the songs, he's bloody good. If he did not, which for some parts I suspect, well, he sounded very much like Bob Marley. I also couldn't help but to take note of the equalization. It was excellent. Whomever EQ'd the film should train me, okay? Probably because it's my favorite Bob Marley song, but the best song on the soundtrack is Redemption Song. I love the ending when he was singing outside with his family with his guitar, and I especially love the Redemption Song rendition with the Congo drums. It's so sad. I almost cried when I heard it. Like every time I hear it, it just brings the feels. Which brings me to the editing. I like the significance that they put on his live appearances and how he performs. They give you a little sentimental piece of the Redemption Song rendition that I like. That little piece before the live performances was my favorite edit in the entire film. That's the only repeat shot that was forgivable. If you know, you know. The pacing and back and forth rhythm between the main plot and flashbacks were pretty decent. It's good that they got to tie in some of his backstory into the whole Exodus arc, because I mean, really, you don't understand someone's journey or someone until you understand their story and background. Most of the editing was effective, but they repeated a few shots, which caused me to wonder if they were shortened clips or B-rolls and were just padding with some repeat shots. I wonder. Anyway, yeah, that kind of thing, it gets old. Even if you need a repeat scene, don't repeat the same shot so many times. Find another sequence in the scene or a different type of shot or angle or something. Finally, contextual reference or the cultural aspect of it. Never in my life have I been more patriotic of my country and proud to call myself a Jamaican. Why? Well, this stood out to me because I pursued my communication degree with the intention of becoming a filmmaker. So because this is a film and it's portraying our culture, it resonates with me. The film is smashing the box office, and I'm glad that in a time like this, One Love serves as another media item which will propel Jamaica and our culture further on the global scale, along with Bob Marley's music, which will be discovered by people who may not have known of him personally, and appreciated even more by those who love Jamaican reggae music. Jamaica will forever be the embodiment of we little but we talawa. Like many of you watching this, I am proud to be a Jamaican. Now my overall impression. With all the things considered and the review I gave, overall I give this film an 8 out of 10. If you haven't watched this yet, what are you waiting for? Huh? Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Give this video a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. One love.
Girl, it